Hi, welcome to Tea Time at the Movies. I'm your host, Tea Time. Thanks for being here. Got a great episode for you guys. Saw a couple movies here for the upcoming week of the new releases here. One Battle After Another, the new Paul Thomas Anderson film, and The Strangers, Chapter 2, the new horror movie sequel. Welcome to the show, Banner. Good to be here with you guys. Let's just get right into the reviews here. One Battle After Another. This movie's rated R. It's 2 hours and 41 minutes. With the trailers, that's over 3 hours. So just prepare yourself. It's a marathon here from, like I said earlier, director, writer Paul Thomas Anderson. I like Paul Thomas Anderson films, but looking into the ones that are his past credits, I had to go back to There Will Be Blood in 2007 to find a good one. The last few have Licorice Pizza. I enjoyed the cinematography and the way it was shot, but not the best PTA movie. Phantom Thread, great Daniel Day-Lewis, but not much story there. Inherent Vice, I don't know what the fuck that was. Master, enjoyed the performances, but the story again was kind of lacking. And if you notice, he's been into Haim in the past few years, past 5, 6, 8 years. In Licorice Pizza, he cast one of the blonde girl was a Haim girl from the band Haim. Turns out their mother is his former high school art school teacher, so that's why he's into Haim, I guess, because he's married to Maya Rudolph from SNL. But the plot, one battle after another. 16 years after members of the French 75 or French 76, I forgot what they were called, but it's a revolutionary group of people went into hiding. A familiar military colonel, played by Sean Penn, comes back to hunt them and find them for his own gain. Kind of straightforward plot overall. What it is, Leo and everybody from the French Revolution, the French 75, go into hiding after they assault. After many terrorist attacks. They would consider freedom attacks. I guess I'm not sure, but. After 16 years, Leo has a kid with one of the French revolutionists. She leaves the kid with him. She goes to Mexico, and Leo raises them for 16 years, and this is where this movie takes place 16 years later. Although the prelude to the movie, the first 15, 20 minutes is the backstory kind of Leo and the mom. Let me just look it up here. Played by Teyana Taylor. Perfidia. Perfidia was the name in the movie. She plays the mom. The other cast members, the daughter is played by Chase Infinity. Willa is her name. Sean Penn plays the Colonel Stephen Lockjaw. Stupid name. And like I said, Teyana Taylor, she's some sort of singer, model, actress. But they bill her as really hot in the movie. I beg to differ. I don't even consider her hot, Rihanna hot. She's more like Rihanna, saying nah to that. And her bone structure, she has such high cheekbones, which is fine, but she more looked like what drag queens wish they looked like. They got she has that whole look with the face and the eyes. She looked more of a drag queen, and I was guessing with all the other stuff in the movie, maybe she was a trans actress, but not that matters, but I'd like to know. But I think she's a full woman. But back to the movie, the review. Overall, this was a no thanks, not for me. This movie was pretty bad. Pretty long and pretty bad. The first thing off on this was the casting. I didn't believe any of the casting in this, maybe besides Benicio del Toro, but I don't know if it was maybe just the writing or the story, the plot, but nobody was really believable in this movie. Kind of bad acting overall too. And one thing I noticed, we don't need all the close-ups of Sean Penn. He's old and disgusting now. He's, I don't know, in his 70s, late 60s, and he's got leathery skin, and his acting was very stiff in this. I can't remember the last thing I liked Sean Penn in. Or he's even been in. He's been in the news more living his life than he's been in movies lately. I get where you Sam I Am or whatever. I Am Sam. That was sort of probably in the 2000s. I can't remember. But Sean Penn was bad in this, like most of everyone in this. Leo had just lazy acting in this. Like he's in his bathrobe the entire movie, just lazing around. He plays a pothead. I get it, but this is what we've been getting from Leo lately. He's like lazy, and he's not good looking. He's not a good looking man anymore. How does he get all this young, trim, 20-year-old? I don't get it. Another thing of this, nothing seems planned out, especially by the revolutionaries, especially the bank robbery scene, which was pretty cringe. The way it turns out or unfolds. And one just more general note about the movie: there's bad, score, background music in it. Couldn't tell the tone of this movie because of it. It was just, if you watch it, you can notice at certain parts where it should be played more serious, and the music should be a little more serious than kind of uppity comedic, I guess. Maybe I'm hearing wrong, but yeah, no tone to this movie. So before I get into anything else, I'm going to put up the spill the tea, the spoiler alert for this, just because it's hard to talk about this without spoiling things too much. But I guess the biggest spoiler, racism, is the villain in this movie. There's like a whole plot line of the Colonel trying to become a member of the. I wish it was like the Christmas Adventure Club, just a club of white supremacists who ask white supremacist questions when they're interviewing him. Like, why would you want to elect Sean Penn into your whites only group? Like, he's old as hell, and he's been in the military for years and years and years and years. Now you're picking it like at the end. That didn't make too much sense. Let me see here my notes. I already got about Leo. He's not good looking. Later in the story, with Benicio del Toro is introduced. I guess he's been like a sensei to his daughter for years, because when they do the time jump, the opening scene is the daughter like doing jujitsu or karate with Benicio del Toro. Even though there's like no one else in the class, it's just her doing it with nobody. Like we're supposed to think she's like a bold woman because of that, or because she can do just to nobody. And Benicio del Toro just happens to be like the leader of some immigration group. He has a whole network of people, Hispanics, doing things. He tells people to do stuff. Go here. We're escaping. Get ready. Blah blah blah. And it just so happens Leo was a former member of a revolutionary group. What are the circumstances when Leo goes into hiding? He, that was stupid and far-fetched. There's a phone conversation with Leo when he's trying to get a rendezvous point. So he calls the revolutionary group, the special hotline number, but he forget because he's such a stoner and burnout and alcoholic that he forgot the password or whatever, the code. When he asks him when the guy on the phone asks him like, what time is it? Leo's supposed to say like, the code phrase, but Leo's forgotten it. So he says, I'm Bob Buckley, blah, 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 and I've been doing this, that, Stupid. It's cringe. It wasn't funny. There was nothing funny in this movie. I didn't laugh once. Later near the end of the movie, there's like this car chase scene, and you don't know how to film a car chase scene. Like cars wouldn't be like 3 miles back away from it. Well, 3 miles, a little over exaggeration, but the guy who comes to kill the Colonel then maybe wants to kill the daughter as well. But why would he care if he kills the Colonel because he had an interracial daughter? That was a big spoiler. But then he's like just driving on the highway, and she parks her car there, and then he is following her, I guess. But there's a bunch of hills on the road, so she parks like at the base of the top of the hill. So he like crashes into the car. Didn't look like he was going that fast. Maybe as a plot point, like show how fast he was going, so you can show like he doesn't know how to like maneuver a car. Like if something's right in front of you, you can turn the car. You don't have to crash right into the thing just because the plot needs you to. And how did she know that he was like a bad guy from the white supremacist group? She just shoots him out of nowhere, or not out of nowhere, but he gets out of the car. She doesn't. I don't think she's ever seen this guy before. Why does she kill him? That didn't make any sense. So she's 16. She's suddenly just a killer. She'll kill anybody in the road that is maybe following her. She didn't even like verify that she was being followed. And then Leo comes. He sees the car crash. He gets out of the car. And then she's asking him like a code question too. Like, it's your dad. All right, so back to my notes here. I got to Willa. Yeah, the plot twist, you can see mile away that Sean Penn was the father of the daughter. You know, like racism plays a big part in this movie. The mother isn't a big role. She in the first, third of the movie or the prelude. She wasn't believable at all. This movie, yes, is woke. PTA woke, like dipped in wokeness. Just there's a trans character who's friends with the daughter, and like bi characters, and bad ending. Why does it? Sean Penn gets shot in the face with a shotgun in the highway, going, speeding, and then he crashes the car. Somehow he survives that for the last part of the movie, the last 5 minutes, whatever, which was totally unnecessary. They should have just cut that out. It's bad ending. Another stupid plot point was Leo has these devices that, if it's within 200 feet of another device, it makes a frequency that you can hear, and you should trust your life with whoever has that. And then, that's a plot point where the daughter meets Regina King, who's like a janitor or something at the school. Terrible ending, terrible movie, slow. I'll give it this. It was 2 hours and 41 minutes or whatever I said. Yeah, it didn't feel that long. It does move. It keeps it moving, even though it doesn't make sense. If you're really into Leo, if you're really into Benicio del Toro, if you like PTA, you might want to just see all his films. Last few, like I said, haven't been good. Licorice Pizza, good parts of it. Phantom Thread, bad. Inherent Vice, bad. Master, okay. There Will Be Blood, great, of course, great movie. But this is a skip. This was a miss. Are movie companies, who produce movies just like making shit because they have to make shit, and everyone's employed and they need something to do, and they need to make like 6 movies a year, and this happened to be like one of the 6. I have like filmmakers lost their way. What was this? Like at the beginning, like they attack an ice facility and they get the one guard who's like sleeping, but there's no one else protecting. Like at the end of the scene, they do show them in a big cage, but they all were just captured by a bunch of women with guns. They have guns. Fight back. You show the other part of the Sean Penn, that part of the military. They have a lot of guns and they take action, and they're intimidating. When the military guy interviews Willow's friends in high school, that was pretty intimidating. That guy's an intimidating guy, but the ice facility people are just nimrods who fall asleep all the time. Bad, skip it. Nothing really good in this. Leo, like a bomb maker. They don't come back to that. That was just before the beginning of the movie. I didn't believe any of it. It was just bad. Skip it. All right, up next. Strangers, Chapter 2. There we go. We got the banner up. This comes from director Renny Harlin, writer Alan Cohen, and Alan Friedland. I didn't recognize like any of these people's credits. Plot of this movie. Oh, well, there's a little confusion because this is Chapter 2. The first chapter came out last year. It was called The Strangers Chapter 1. I guess I missed it. I thought this was a sequel to the 2008 The Strangers, which I guess they rebooted it last year. So it's a little different. They kind of copied some of the same storylines and extended it into a trilogy, and this is Chapter 2. So this continues the story from Chapter 1, which I did not see, but I saw the 08 movie, so I'm pretty familiar with what happened, unless they changed it a lot. Mile wakes up in the hospital after her boyfriend or husband was stabbed or murdered the prior night, or previously in the last movie, and she was stabbed in the stomach. But in order to finish her off, the 3 masked strangers come to the hospital to finish her off, but Maya escapes into the woods, and this movie tells the survival. Yeah, she fights for her survival after she escapes into the woods. So they chase her into the woods. There's more plot to that, but I won't spoil it for you if you saw Chapter 1 or you just want to go see a horror movie this weekend. If you're not familiar with the story from Chapter 1, there's 3 strangers just murder this couple in a vacation house, like in the woods, but for no reason, like because they were just there. This was a no thanks, not for me. This is pretty bad. There was like no color in this movie. It all seemed like it was like on a blue filter or shot with like a bad camera. There wasn't much like detail. It seemed I don't know, it was in a pretty good theater. Sometimes like you could tell the screen's off or the bulb's off, but it was laser AMC. The camera moves are very suspiciously throughout the whole movie. It's very, very suspicious of everybody. The camera work in this. I don't know how to better describe it, but if you watch the movie, you might see that or notice that as well. So a wounded woman in the woods. This is a light spoiler, but whatever. It's would die trying to survive a fight with a wild hog. She encounters like a pig, a wild hog in the woods. That she thankfully there's an abandoned car that she goes into and survives it. But it's pretty unbelievable that scene, her fighting a hog. The hog bites her leg. It would snap that thing in half. You know how strong hogs are? Wild hogs. A hungry wild hog in the woods with a 100-pound woman who's injured with a stomach wound. That's some good breakfast there, boy. You know that's. She would not survive that. She has a knife and she stabs it, but that's later, you know. So there's no end to this. It's just a continuation of chapter 1 to chapter 2, and it's gonna finish with chapter 3, hopefully. It's a 3-parter. Bad cutoff point. I'm not gonna spoil that for you, but they introduce a plot point to it, and then they just kind of cut it off. But you either tell more of that, or wait for the next one. There's one more film you can definitely tell that. This delves into the 3 murders past a little bit in the movie. But why are we having sympathy for the murderers who just murder people, random strangers in a vacation home? That's not to be glorified or to be understood. That's to be prosecuted and, sent to jail. Hopefully the death penalty. Hopefully it's in Utah. It was filmed like a sci-fi movie, if you know what I mean. Like, I don't know, it seemed kind of off, everything. Not really believable, like overacting of suspicious. There's, a sheriff and a police officer, and they seem pretty suspicious, like they're in on it and stuff. And it seems like everybody's in on it except for her. I don't know. Maybe we'll find out in part 3. They go into the past of the strangers. Not very interesting. So skip it. It wasn't too long either. It was, an hour and 41 minutes or something. I didn't write it down. Sorry. It was rated R, hour and some odd minutes. Well, it doesn't really matter. I think it was hour 35-ish. Wasn't too long. But again, with the trailers, it's like over 2 hours. Like the trailers are literally like 29 minutes. The IMAX, I saw the One Battle After Another in IMAX. No need to see it in IMAX. There's nothing special about it. But then with the IMAX trailer, it's like literally over a half hour of trailers. I mean, they cut the Nicole Kidman to like literally like a 10 or 15-second trailer from the longer version, which thank you. But then there's the Coke the ad right in front of it. And then there's another ad. Like, ugh. Too many ads. My God. 30 minutes of trailers is way too long. And there's the same trailers over and over again. I can't watch it. Well, that's all I have for you. A couple other movies came out. I didn't get a chance to see. Something with an old lady. Queen of something. I could look it up real quick. Maybe I'll see them this weekend here. Eleanor the Great. Trailer looked maybe a little interesting. Dead of Winter, and I wanted to see that as well. So hopefully I'll see those 2 over the weekend. Only got to see these 2 this Thursday. They've just been coming out Thursday. Some, they used to release some on Wednesday or have a full day show on Thursday. But that's all I could cut in for today. The Strangers, skip. One Battle After Another, skip, unless you want to see some wokeness and a story that isn't very good. All right, thanks for tuning in, guys. Thanks for watching. My 4 subscribers, God bless you. Thanks for subscribing. Whatever they say, like and subscribe. Would appreciate it. But remember that the T stands for truth, and that's a guarantee. See you guys next time. Thanks.